And we're going to start. Hello, I'm Siobhan Sarna, and I'm so glad you're here. I am the founder of SIBO SOS and Chronic Condition Rescue, where we focus on chronic underserved conditions like fascia conditions, lymph conditions, microbiome conditions, IBS, SIBO, EMO. These are bacterial and archaic overgrowths. And this is my book, Healing SIBO. Come on in for it. It's the best $20 you're going to spend on your SIBO treatments. And today, my special guest is Tobias, who is going to be talking, Segal, who's going to be talking to us about ozone. So just very quickly, ozone was first introduced to me by Dr. Alana Gurvich, who is a phenomenal gut health specialist, naturopath out of Portland, Oregon. And I'd never heard of it before, other than like ozone with air purifiers, right? So she talked to me in one of our first interviews about how she uses it for dental applications. And then she said, I'll never forget, she goes, don't put that in the video. It's controversial. And then she talked about insufflation, which I'd never heard of, where you put it in a big syringe and you literally like put it up your butt.
Yep.
And then, then put it up your vagina for vaginal. And I was like, whoa, this is like crazy. And you can drink the ozonated water and just that you could put it up your nose. I'm like, what in the world is this? Okay. So then over the past 5 years, after first hearing about it, I have been investigating it, and I have fortunately had the opportunity to use it. And I've been craving a machine at home. And walks Tobias into my life, and he is the ozone guy. And everybody in this health community knows him for being the ozone guy. Like why it took so long for me to find him, I don't know, but here we are. And so I asked him to come in and talk about ozone with us because there are so many applications, and he is truly the ozone expert. And one of the reasons why I love him is because he's a very patient man, and he trained me not once, not twice, but 3 times on how to use the machine. So everyone says that his support is and education is what also makes him so different. Truly caring. Hello, Tobias. Thanks for being here.
Well, thank you so much for having me. I really appreciate it.
So for those people who are just curious, they have beginner's mind. Bless you for coming. What exactly is ozone for health applications?
So what we're doing is we're taking pure oxygen, and that's the key. We have to use pure oxygen, and we're running it into an ozone machine. And all we're doing is electrically charging that oxygen. So when we electrically charge it, we're converting that oxygen to ozone. But the big takeaway is we have to use it at low concentrations, which is what these machines do. So with low concentrations, ozone is very therapeutic. It is used all over the world for medicine. It's used in Europe extensively, in Cuba, and a lot of other places. And there's just such a host of amazing treatments you can utilize with ozone.
So what do you need in order to have ozone at your house? Now, a lot of doctors' offices, a lot of functional and alternative doctors' offices have it, but what do you need in order to, like, anybody needs to have? My dentist was telling me about how she uses it at home for her young kids whenever they think they're coming down with something and for wounds. So tell us about what you need, and then let's do some other and if you guys have any questions, pop them into the Q&A box for me. Chat is for technical issues. Hi, Clarissa. Thanks. Okay, go ahead.
So the big thing is a pure oxygen source, and that is going to be the biggest barrier to entry to getting set up with ozone. So you have to have that oxygen source, and there are several ways that you can do that. We have pre-filled tanks that we can deliver to your door that contain over 99% pure oxygen. You can have, if you have access to a medical oxygen tank, that also works. But we have a lot of people, and surprisingly, go with industrial oxygen. And that sounds kind of weird, but it's the exact same stuff as medical. The only difference is it comes in a steel tank versus an aluminum tank. Industrial oxygen is also incredibly pure because it has to be used for a lot of these high purity required applications. And we do have a video on the landing page that talks about how to get it, and it explains what you need to do. But we want to make sure that there are options available for securing that oxygen source. So once you have that, the only thing left is the ozone machine. And so once you have that machine, you are now able to generate pure medical grade ozone. And then after that, we have all these other accessories you can use to administer the ozone however you wish to do so.
Okay, I'm just gonna get this out of the way because like Heidi I don't know if it's Heidi, Jeanette has to go. But I always wrestle with these special people and say, please give my community a discount. And the other day, one of my favorites, I'm doing a webinar coming up with them, and they were like, well, you don't need a discount. I was like, oh no, I need a discount. This isn't happening unless I have a discount. Hello, these people are spending all their money on, supplements and stuff. So like, we need a discount. Namaste. So Tobias has offered us a very special discount, very generous. Yes, I thank you for that, truly. And Clarissa will put the link in the chat, and we'll also give the coupon code to give the extra special discount. So can you show us what you have on your table?
Yeah.
And just kind of walk us through it.
Okay, so this is I apologize for that. So this is an ozone generator right here, okay? And so what else? The other thing you need, what's hooked up to it, is this device called, it's a industrial oxygen tank. So that's what's feeding this machine. We also have other tanks that look like this. These are the pre-filled tanks. So something like this is a pre-filled tank that we can actually mail to your door that gets delivered.
Yeah.
That's what I got you, because we want, this is all about convenience for some people. We can make it as convenient as possible. Or if you want to take a few extra steps, the industrial oxygen is the way to go. Once you have that hooked up, what we have is the generator right here, and this device is feeding into to generate ozonated water. So what we do is we take distilled water and we infuse it with pure ozone gas, and that water picks up a lot of that ozone, and so we can now drink ozonated water. There's a lot of other really cool applications as well. Yes.
Okay, so the ozonated water, tell us what it's good for, and you guys, it tastes like chlorine pool water, which is, me, I am so sensitive, like that sounds horrible. So I just hold my nose and I drink it, and I'm starting out low and building up. Mm-hmm. And I also use it to swoosh my mouth, and I also use it, like I dunk our toothbrushes in there. And I love Briotech. That's a great product. I love it, but I love the ozone water, and also I can make it myself. I'm swooshing it around our bathroom sink, my kitchen sink. I'm washing veggies with it. You know how paranoid I am about fruits and veggies and them getting clean, because I like organic and I don't want food poisoning or parasite. So I love doing that too. Can you do me a favor and show the machine? I know I just had you roll back over there, and it was sideways. So I just want to have you pivot it so that we can kind of read it.
Absolutely.
Other way. Yep.
There we go. Okay.
So I don't know if you can get closer. It doesn't matter. It's a chart, you guys, that shows you what you need to know, so you don't have to keep looking stuff up.
The chart is very important because it's all about concentration. So when we administer ozone to the body, whether we're doing it the insufflations like we talked about previously, it boils down to putting the right concentration in the body. So this chart all it is a guide. It just tells you how to get there. And in a lot of our training that we provide, we go over how to read this chart properly. It's really simple. It's very intuitive how to use. And so when we're essentially making ozonated water, we're infusing that gas in here, and we have different concentrations that require different things. And so all of that stuff is spelled out in our instructions, and we do a lot of hands-on as well to teach you essentially how to, set the right concentration and use it properly.
Okay, thanks. We can come back to you. I just wanted to show you, this is the package guide, and this is the instructions. Thanks, I appreciate that. And then it literally walks you through everything. Like I wrote some notes on there, but it is Siobhan proof. If I can do it, you can do it. But we've got some questions about ear, Babette. I've had a 3-month inner ear infection in both ears that's leaving me almost deaf. Oh my gosh, I'm so sorry. I ran into a friend who has a home ozone machine and has offered to let me try it for my inner ear infection.
Do it, absolutely.
Yeah. So I wanted to show this to you because this gets hooked up to the ozone machine. Hello. And you put it in there. Hello. We're such nerds. I love it. And it's painless. It's incredible. And I am not a doctor, so this is not medical advice, but I will say I have a lot of friends that have used this for ear infections, even with their kids. Again, talk to your people, your practitioners and stuff. People swear by it. Go ahead,
Even
Tobias.
even brain fog. Like I find that if you have brain fog, one of the easiest, best things you can do to help out. And it's something that it takes, like, I think the important thing is a lot of these therapies with ozone, they take 3 to 5 minutes. And so they're very quick. Is, as long as you have everything set up properly and started up, like you can be in and out in under 10 minutes with everything. So it's a very quick thing to do, if you, especially if you don't have a lot of time.
Well, who does? Can you use this
I
for
don't.
nasal and ear mold colonization? So we talked about the ear infections. Go ahead.
You absolutely can. So it's pretty simple. We're gonna take a standard syringe. We're gonna fill it up with ozone at a low concentration, and what we're gonna do is we're just gonna push it up the nose. But with ozone gas, ozone's considered an irritant, so we don't want to breathe it. So we do it while we're holding our breath. I just say it's like you're going swimming underwater. You're not breathing while you're swimming. And then when you pop out of the water, you just exhale to push all that excess ozone out of your nose. And what it's doing is it's getting up in the sinus passages. And not only is it killing mold, bacteria, it's also lowering viral load if you have viruses that replicate up in the sinus passages. So it's one of the fastest, easiest things to do. Like I always like to use the story. I like to talk about my wife a lot because she's had really good success. She doesn't like it when I talk about her, but she's a great example. So she always gets these pressure headaches, and it boils down to her sinuses aren't draining properly. So what we do is we push a little bit of ozone up her nose, and it finally gets everything moving. And within about 3 to 5 minutes, her headaches are gone. And so it's a really fast, effective therapy that we can do at home with her.
So I hate stuff up my nose, like legit. And the first time I worked with Tobias, I did it, and oh my gosh, it cleared me out in a great way.
You can
And
breathe.
I could breathe again. Exactly. And I have a lot of facial pain from mold. And it is like, even if I got this whole thing just for that, it was worth it for me. But I get to do the water and the ear. And now here comes the dental. So this is part of, this is an accessory you can buy as an extra, but you fasten these tips on, and you don't want to breathe it, right? So what we were just talking about is you don't like inhale it, you just shove it up your nose, sorry for being blunt, and then you like blow out. And so it's not gonna, it's not gonna be uncomfortable. And believe me, again, I'm so sensitive. If this was not easy to do, I would not be talking to you about it. But for dental, let's talk about some applications for dental.
Absolutely. So I think the easiest thing to start out for dental is making that ozonated water and using it as a mouthwash. It is the best mouthwash you'll ever try. If you have plaque buildup throughout the day, you will notice first off when you start using it, that plaque buildup is so minimal compared to what it normally is. It also makes your breath feel really good. It smells really good. It's just a really powerful mouthwash to use. And you can also drink it. It does not hurt if you drink it. The dental handpiece, that's a great tool for targeting specific areas in the mouth. So whether you're having an issue with sensitivity, what you want to do is you want to apply that ozone gas specifically to that spot. And so we do have some really good videos that teach you how to properly use it, because there's some tricks to using it correctly. Our videos walk you through how to administer it into the mouth and what to do. And I would say the big takeaway for somebody who has dental issues, if you have sensitivity issues, there's nothing better than ozone for sensitivity issues. If you have gum disease or receding gum lines, ozone can be such an effective tool at that. It's going to go after that anaerobic bacteria, which will essentially eliminate that from what's happening. I think I just disappeared there for a second.
Yeah, you're still gone. You're still gone.
Okay. I'm back.
You're back.
So,
you're back. All good.
so yeah, like ozone, and this is the cool thing, like people, like there are so many dentists getting into ozone because of how effective it is. And like I'm constantly talking to dentists almost every day who are getting set up to start administering ozone into their practice. And the crazy thing is, like, they're getting patients walking into their office saying, hey, do you offer ozone? And if they're not offering ozone, they're losing clients. And so ozone is one of the most non-toxic, safest ways to essentially get rid of bacteria in the mouth. And we all know that if we have underlying infections in the mouth, that's going to be affecting the rest of our body. And especially if we have a specific tooth, there's all these meridian lines. If we have an issue with our gut, chances are we probably have something going on in our mouth. So that is one of the most important things to clear up.
Absolutely. Everyone knows how I feel about that, considering all of the dental summits and interviews that I've done, like Dr. Jerry Curatola, when I went and saw him. Of course, he had ozone. When I get my teeth cleaned at my other biological dentist, they, they have some different techniques, but then they take ozonated water and they like pressure wash my teeth with it. And they, like I said, my dentist has a machine at home as well for her family, because she just uses it like other people would use like Neosporin or whatever. Like it's her beyond a first aid kit for them. So, okay. So Karen, hey, so it's just the gas from ozone for ears and nose. Like you're asking if there's anything else in there. There's nothing else in there but the ozone.
That's it. So it's just going to be the ozone gas. Now, if you want to take it one step further, you can ozonate some water and use that as a neti pot. Like a neti pot, that's a great way to do it. I think the gas is a little bit faster. I like efficiency, so anything that I can do to speed up my day, I'll typically choose that route. But there are 100 different ways you can find you. There's so many different ways you can use it, and it's easy to find the right way for you.
Tracy, did you mean to put like a real estate ad in the Q&A box, or did you cut and paste and it just populated? Okay. Let's see. Does ozone kill the good bacteria too?
It does. So I think that's important to know. But if we're having an issue, we have to get rid of that bad bacteria. Okay. But I did have some consultations with some pretty good ozone doctors prior to this. And one of the big consensus that they feel is, yes, it will kill some of the good bacteria, but our good bacteria populate exponentially faster. So, when we compare it to what antibiotics do to the body. So it's still important to take a probiotic, but we have to also understand we have to get rid of that bad bacteria. If we don't do that, we're essentially setting ourselves up for failure. So just in a short question, yes, it does, but that's not necessarily a bad thing.
Right. And eat what to do to rebuild your microbiome.
Yes.
And so it's a balance, right? Does it help with cavitations?
Ozone. So yes. So anytime we get ozone into the body, like cavitations are essentially it's like an infection close to the bone. So if you can practice good hygiene with ozonated water using the dental handpiece, that infection is going to start somewhere. So typically it's going to start in the mouth and eventually work its way. So from a preventative standpoint, you probably can't use anything better than ozone. Be consistent with it. It's very powerful. I am a huge believer, like we have to take care of our mouth. Like if you let the mouth go, you are letting other parts of your body go. Keep that mouth healthy, and it's going to be much easier to take care of yourself in the long run.
Reach it. Okay. So a question, Tracy, no problem. I don't think that we're going to be able to accurately answer this, Tracy, but would it fix the loss of smell after COVID? I don't know what that mechanism was personally.
So from my knowledge, the mechanism boils down to specific types of stem cells that have been somewhat damaged during COVID. And so that's up in the sinus passages. Ozone helps with like inflammation, and it helps with the healing crisis. And so, it's a tough one to answer. It might assist to a point. I would love to hear more feedback from people who have had success. I know that sense of smell for most people should come back. I know for some people it doesn't, but I think it could potentially help. Okay.
And Tracy's saying it's not loss of smell. Thanks, Tracy. But where everything smells awful. I am so sorry you're going through that. I don't think we have a black and white answer for you. I think it's a can't hurt, might help scenario.
I think so too.
So I want to talk about pre-existing cavitations versus preventive. I just had Dr. Jerry Curatola on here for the Dental Health Summit, and we asked that question, like, what can you do if you already have them? And he didn't love this answer, but it is his truth of what his observation is for his, 40 years in the dental practice. And that the only thing that really gets rid of cavitations is the surgery. we do have doctors who have experimented with small cavitations versus larger big ones with injecting ozone.
Yeah.
And with some success. I spoke to them about it, but not like 100% success. And that's what I think we even talked about this is it depends on the cost because they're injecting it into that bone area.
Yep.
And my dentist, not Jerry, but the other one, to get ozone injections is like $200. Okay. It's very expensive. Other doctors do not charge that much. So, I mean, I get the Novocaine, I, pray over it. I get the injections. Yeah, it's the whole thing. So it comes down to cost for a lot of people, plus finding a practitioner who can do it.
Yeah.
So it's a mixed thing. Let me keep going. Go ahead.
I was to say it's worth a shot, like getting the injections for cavitation. Absolutely. It might delay needing surgery at some point, which is also a plus, but I think it's, it can help, but maybe at some point you might need to get that surgery done. So
yeah, sorry, believe me. Okay. Does ozone kill yeast candida? Hi, Mira.
yes, ozone is considered antimicrobial, so it will. So you can use it for a host of things. Like there's people who use it for candida overgrowth, and I think
Right.
that's why
fungal.
ozonated. Yes,
That's fungal. Yeah.
and that's why I think ozonated water is so important because as you drink it, it's also going to hit the upper GI, which is going to help with like bacterial buildup, other yeast buildup. And so it is a super easy thing to do. I mean, you can drink it twice a day. It's so easy to make, and that will hit that area. And I think it's a really easy solution. And you can't really overdo it, which is great. Yeah, it might taste, but it works really well.
Hold your nose. Can you douche with it?
Absolutely. Yeah. But the best thing to do would be to use the ozone gas instead, because I think that's going to be more effective. It's really good for like women who have also like endometriosis issues. Helps with a lot of that scar tissue buildup. Like a lot of women will actually use it for like if they have like rough periods, it'll actually subside it and get the bleeding under control quite a bit. It's one of the fastest things we notice from women who do that. So there's a lot of different uses for it. It's pretty amazing.
Okay. How long does the ozone water keep once you make it? Hi, Rhonda.
If you can make it and put it in the refrigerator, it'll last for several hours. So I always like to point out it's the strongest it possibly is like right then. And so if you have the ability to drink it as soon as possible, you're going to get more benefit. Now you can wait a little bit, but it's not going to be quite as strong. So I always say make it and then drink it or use it.
Okay, Barbara's saying, and I see your questions. I heard you have to have a medical prescription to buy the O2. So Barbara, that's another reason, I don't know if you were here in the beginning, that I was so excited for what Tobias does, because he can provide the oxygen to you if you're in the United States.
That's correct.
It's a tank. It's not that big. I was like, what? Am I like getting a truck and a hand truck to like haul? There it is.
It looks something like this. And so this is just one of the pre-fill tanks that we sell that can get delivered to your door. Other tanks are going to be bigger. Like a good example is this industrial tank that some people can get. It's a little bit bigger. They're kind of heavy, like 15, 20 pounds, but you have to physically go out and get this. This cannot arrive at your door.
So what he said was you can try to get a script and do the medical equipment route. You also can find like a welding shop and see if they'll sell you the oxygen like he was just showing you in the green tank.
The video that we have on the website that's on the landing page that talks about how to do it and where to go. And it's one of the biggest questions that we get with people getting started is that's the one thing you have to resolve is your oxygen. We do try to make it as easy as possible, but if we try to simplify the process, but you still have to sometimes actively go out and get it.
Okay, Karen, how often can you use your ozonated water to rinse your mouth each day? Every time you brush your teeth and or rinsing your mouth with it after eating? How about eating sugary desserts? I've been told not to brush immediately after eating sugar to wait 20 minutes. Could we rinse instead of brushing? There's no substitute for brushing your teeth, okay, and or flossing, but this is I think the best rinse going. So go ahead.
Absolutely. I mean, brush your teeth, okay?
Yeah. Right.
But then utilize it as like a mouthwash. It works really well for that.
So Yeah, you don't want to get your mouth totally void of bacteria. That's not really the point, right? And it repopulates very quickly. Plus, when you go to your dentist and you get a cleaning, it's about 90 days, by the way, until that bacteria goes back up to a peak level.
Okay.
Obviously, it depends on the strain, yada, yada. But, this is great for maintenance in between. So you could use it with your water pick. Somebody asked about that. They said, will it degrade the plastic on water picks?
No, it won't, because ozone water is going to be, it's not near as degrading as like ozone gas per se. So we have plenty of people who use it in water picks. Dentists will fill up the water bottles under the chair, and that's how they use it with the patient. So no, it's not going to cause any issues with your water pick. So we're
Okay.
just not quite at that concentration needed to cause any issues.
How many uses can you get out of the red tank, the kind we can get from you? Can it
So
last
we
a month?
have,
Yeah.
yeah, so it's going to last over a month per person. So when we ship them, we ship 2 tanks out. So we like to say, if you're using it regularly on a daily basis, it's going to give you a 2-month supply. Now, that is contingent upon making sure you shut it off after you're done. If you leave it on accidentally, for like all day, it's not going to last as long as you would like. So, as long as you follow our startup and shutdown procedure, which is pretty clearly defined, you should have a good solid 2 months of everyday use.
Okay. And I just asked Clarissa to put the information and the coupon code back in the chat. Okay. Are there any risks with the ozone?
There's only one risk. And really what it boils down to, we don't want you to breathe the actual ozone gas because it's considered an irritant. I want to, make it clear, there are some people who say ozone is supposedly toxic. That is not true. It is an irritant. So the ozone that we are creating is very safe. It's medically used. They inject it in the body. You can get injections, in your blood. It is very, very safe. It's just the lung tissue is just overly sensitive. And so it causes irritation when you come in contact with ozone gas. The rest of our body, we do not have that issue. There's no issue whatsoever. So all we do is just don't actively try to breathe the ozone gas. The way we have everything set up, it's almost foolproof. We have filter systems in place to prevent excess off-gassing of ozone, but just follow the procedures and don't actively try to put your nose up to where the ozone comes out.
Yeah.
You should be fine.
Okay. You do not need a script in the United States for the red tank that you would
No.
get from Tobias. So side effects of ozone, just to cover that from the other side, will using ozone stress your detoxifying organs? Hi, Julie.
It can. It can push your body into, like, think about if you have an overabundance of microbes or bacteria and you're killing those off, you could put yourself into a detox mode. But that's where managing how you feel is really important. The great thing with ozone is you are in control of dosing it yourself. So start out low, go slow, see how you feel, and then gradually work up. So be in control of how you feel with ozone. I think that's one of the most important things for people when they get started.
Okay. You guys, it's in the chat and you want to use that coupon code Siobhan10 to get 10% off. Karen, come on over into the Q&A box. How can I get one in Canada?
If you want it, we ship to Canada regularly. Canada has been a little bit difficult for some companies as of late. As of right now, we're still able to do it. When we ship it to Canada, it has to be labeled as a water purification system. Canada does not like the term ozone therapy equipment whatsoever. So we do have to label it as that. Now, as far as the red tanks, we can ship those to Canada. It does require us to generate an actual generate a quote for you to get that to Canada, because we have to ship it through UPS ground, which is a different type of method. So it is doable. You just have to call us up and we can help you out.
What's your number? What's the customer service email?
Our telephone number is 888-742-3404.
You are killing me. Go slower.
All right, I'm gonna do
it. Okay.
888-742-3404.
Yeah.
Or even easier, email us at sales@chromolife.com and we'd be happy to give you a quote.
First of all, Clarissa is such a superhero. She did get the number and post it. So thank you. Okay.
Wow, that's actually way too fast for me. So
really impressive. Connolly, do you ozonate the water directly, or do you bubble the ozone through olive oil before infusing the water?
So we're going to ozonate it directly because when we ozonate it through olive oil, it's going to neutralize most of the ozone in it. So we want that maximum concentration that we can get in the water because that's when it's going to be the most effective. So ozonate it straight.
When do we use I have that olive oil set up. When do I use that again?
So that's a great tool for like respiratory issues. So what we're doing when we ozonate oil and breathe the gas that comes off of oil is we're generating terpenes and ozonides. And so those are really therapeutic when it comes to like respiratory issues. And so it's super easy to use. You hook it up, start ozonating, and we have these little breathing devices that it comes with, and you just start breathing it. And most people who use this, if they have a pretty severe cough or respiratory issues, they're going to notice something clearing up pretty quickly. And so it's something that's so easy to use. And that's what I love about ozone. There's literally so many uses for it. And it's just one of those things you can get, like I get my kids to use it. I get my wife to use it. I use it. It's almost like having like a first aid kit
Right.
/ in your house, like anytime you want to use it. It's really cool.
So I think I put the olive oil. Did I use the olive oil for this?
No, you didn't. So we
Okay.
have another
Just
device
the
called
olive oil.
so we use this device called a nasal cannula. So it's essentially what people breathe
Yes,
oxygen
yes,
through.
yes,
And
yes.
so we're just going to use that as the breathing apparatus to deliver that ozonated or that oil that's been bubbled or that ozone that's been bubbled through oil to our nose.
Right. Sorry, I couldn't keep it straight for a second. I have done that too, and it was like great, and it's painless, and it was so easy. Right. Okay. Okay. Have you ever heard of it helping optic nerve rejuvenation through her ears? There's a podcaster who said it helped her.
So ozone helps with it helps reduce inflammation. It can help with like scar tissue buildup, and it can also generate a healing response. And so I think that it can. And also, like, if we think about sensitivity issues in the mouth, ozone is so widely used for sensitivity issues, and that's all nerve pain. So I don't see why it wouldn't.
For whom is ozone not appropriate?
Um, there's really very few people who can't do ozone. Okay, so for home ozone, everybody can do it. There's absolutely not anybody who can't do home ozone. There are some people when it comes to doing like the IV form of ozone where they take out your blood and ozonating it. There are some people who can't do that. And there's usually like a specific gene, but it's incredibly rare. But most everybody can do it at home. So it's not hard.
I've had that done where they took my blood out, ozonated it, and put it back in. That is intense. It is intense. You're not doing that at home. Yeah, that is like you're going to your doctor.
I do want to say though, for people who are wanting something close to that effect, you can do that at home through the form of rectal insufflation. So essentially, we're taking the ozone gas and we're using it as a gas enema. And we're taking that colon and we're utilizing the absorption tools, such as all the blood vessels. And also we have that portal vein that takes it right to the liver. So they compare rectal insufflation as being somewhat close to that. So it's pretty cool. You can do that at home.
Okay. All right. I have ozonated olive oil purchased from my dentist. And when I apply it to my gum or skin, there's an odd smell that sticks in my nose. Is that okay, or is it too strong? That odd smell is probably the ozonation and is a sign that it's potent. Is that true, Tobias?
Yes. Ozonated
Seriously?
oil
No.
has a very interesting odor. It doesn't necessarily taste the best. I mean, it doesn't taste horrible, but it works so well. And so if you're noticing that scent, it's probably a very powerful ozonated oil. And it's such a great tool to rub on like a tooth, rub on like the gums. We have really good feedback from people who have like gum. I think if you have gum issues, you should be using ozonated oil because there's really nothing else better because the oil adheres to the gums and it sticks on there and it just stays on there longer and works better.
Julie, what did I mean by that treatment being intense? Well, I don't like needles. So you got 2 needles going. So that's what I meant by intense. And some people can have a Herxheimer reaction to it. I just didn't like the needles. So that's me. But other people swear by it. Do you think it helps the liver in the same way a coffee enema does?
100%. So what it's doing is it's stimulating the production of glutathione in the liver. So absolutely.
Okay, I'm going to keep going. Does it help with mold in the body? We talked about that. Yes.
Oh, absolutely.
And also alopecia, total hair loss. Hold on. Rebecca, Julie Olson, you may or may not know, is a functional nutritionist, and she's doing a summit on hair loss. And it's coming out, I think, in April. So I'm glad you're on my email list because you will get an email about it. So that would perhaps be very interesting for you. And she does, of course, talk about alopecia. I'm one of the people she interviewed.
Okay.
So have you ever heard of it helping hair loss?
So alopecia is obviously it's an autoimmune disease. And so ozone is known to help modulate the immune system. So it can help balance it out. So in theory, it could potentially provide some benefit. And we also have we have so many cool accessories on the website. We have this thing called a head bag. So we have people who actually have active balding hair loss, and they'll apply that ozone to their head, and it actually stimulates the scalp. And we have some people report they have hair growth. I mean, and also it's great. Honestly, I already have the first thing set. I have it set aside. So as soon as my kids come home with lice, I'm putting that on their head,
gosh.
and that's what I'm going to use. So,
oh my gosh. Yes. And by the way, yes, we will send out a replay. Rhonda, you said something about rectal templation. It's insufflation. What is that, and what are the benefits?
Okay. So
Great.
rectal insufflation is the act of taking, I want to show people what it kind of looks like. So it's the act of taking a bag. It looks like an enema bag. So we're going to fill it up with ozone. So it's going to be like a full bag. And we have this insertion device right here. And so once this bag is full, we're going to get into our position, obviously in a private setting. We're going to insert this, rectally about 2 to 4 inches. And we're going to slowly squeeze that gas out of the bag. And so we're adding ozone rectally. It's the same as an enema, except it's gas. Okay. A lot of people have to do enemas. I remember when I first did it, I was like, oh, this is not cool. But you get used to it. It's really not that big of a deal. And so, especially if you're not feeling good, it's really easy to do it. And so, it's a powerful delivery mechanism. If we look at the colon and how bioavailable medication is through the colon, it's substantially adding ozone there is so good. It just gets distributed all throughout the body. And so if you want full body systemic effects with ozone, rectal insufflation is one of the easiest things you can do in the comfort of your own home.
Okay. Does it matter what kind of water you're using? Chlorine, fluoride, hard water, soft, any other water issues? Doesn't have to be distilled.
We recommend distilled water because distilled water is void of minerals. And when you have no minerals in the water, you're going to be able to attach a lot more ozone into that water. And that's why. Does
it help with nystagmus in the eye? I don't know what that is.
Oh, like a stigma, like a sty, maybe?
I don't know. Shirley, keep describing that. Does it help with pain in the hip or lower back?
So that's where I would recommend, if you are interested in ozone, look into this therapy called either Prolo ozone therapy or Prolozone therapy. It's where they actually inject this small amount of gas into a joint. And there's a lot of practicing physicians out there that do it. And from a sports medicine standpoint or a pain relief standpoint, my wife had this done. She had major low back pain, and they were like, okay, we're gonna recommend you get surgery on this. And we all know surgery has a 50% success rate. Chances it could work, chances it may not work. So we did the Prolozone injections in her back, and she was literally bedridden. And within 3 days, she was at 80% back to work. And so she's like, this was the fastest recovery I've ever seen. And her friends were like, what did you do? And then so she's a huge advocate for this type of therapy. And they're like, wow, that's so interesting. I've never heard of that. More people need to know about this.
That is definitely a doctor scenario though.
That's true.
The nystagmus is a rhythmic movement of the eyes that you cannot control. It can be horizontal, vertical, or rotary. I'm going to say that this is not going to help that because that sounds like a very complicated medical situation. So that's not what this is for. Come on, Andy, come on over to the Q&A box. I'm going right back because I got a lot of people there. Can ozone be used to treat SIBO? So I'm going to just address this with what Dr. Ilana Gurvich said. She said she didn't usually use ozone rectal insufflation for SIBO because her clients were already so uncomfortable and it kind of made them feel bloated. Mm-hmm. So I think she loved it, as an idea and everything, but she often didn't use that. She used antimicrobials often, and the elemental diet and the typical treatments. Tobias, what have you found?
So I had a chance to talk with a pretty prominent ozone doctor before this podcast, and we there's several things that they recommend. Drinking ozonated water is a really powerful tool. We also sell this other product called ozone oil capsules. And so these capsules can be taken orally. They're really good for hitting the upper GI tract. We want to know with SIBO, we have to make sure we want that intestinal area to be essentially sterile. And so also, like, if you can, the small intestine. So if you can do the rectal insufflations, like I know from my reading about SIBO, a lot of people who have SIBO also have IBS. And so rectal insufflations can also help with, keeping that under control. So they can help with some of those flare-ups that you might get. But, yes, you can definitely develop some, bloating from the insufflation, but
like
this is oxygen.
Feeling. Yeah,
it's very temporary.
Feeling of fullness.
Yes.
Yeah,
it is very temporary, and it goes away because oxygen and ozone are so absorbed so well in the system that your body absorbs it relatively rapidly, unlike the other gases that are down there that have to be expelled. So ozonated water, absolutely. If you can do the capsules, phenomenal. And then if you're having that IBS, definitely try the rectal insufflations. I've talked to so many people who have IBS issues, and it's like one of the fastest ways to essentially control flare-ups.
What's your return policy?
We offer a 30-day money-back guarantee. And so we do have a small restock fee built into that for people who don't like it. We do that just because we have to replace it, and we have to replace a lot of the medical components. And essentially what we're doing is we're having to sell the unit at a discount, but we want you to have at least 30 days from the day you receive it to decide if it's right for you.
What about if people in Europe want to buy it?
We ship all over the world. So we ship to
go ahead
UK.
and reach out to their office. Yeah.
Yes.
Okay. Go ahead and reach out to their office.
You can go online, add items to your cart, and you can generate a shipping quote. I do want to say one quick thing for the international customers. Those red tanks, we can't ship those internationally. We have a section on our website. You'll have to go to our oxygen section and oxygen tank regulators. We list high pressure international oxygen tank regulators. And so we list all the countries that, as far as which ones work with which. And so you can go on there and determine where you're at and which one's right for you.
Guys,
so, if you have questions, email us.
This is what he does. Like, this is all he does other than being.
This is literally all I do.
This is like, he is the ozone guy. People turn to him from all over the world. The ozone lady turns to Tobias. I mean, there's an ozone lady. They're like, he's
crazy ozone lady.
Right. That's her website. It's the crazy ozone lady. So like, you're in really, really good hands with Tobias worldwide. I want to keep going. Patrice, did I miss the section on the discussion on how it's beneficial generally for metabolism? No, Patrice, you didn't miss that because we didn't talk about that. So how is it for metabolism? That's so interesting.
It's a really good question. I haven't dove a lot into like how it increases your metabolism. But if it's potentially offsetting some of that negative bacteria, it could very well increase your metabolism. So here's the thing: people need to understand with ozone is not going to hurt you. Ozone has pretty much there's really very little negative that it can do to your body. So ozone in general is just something that people utilize for preventative. They utilize for maintenance. Like, they use it all the time, and it's not gonna negatively affect you if you start using it. So most people just notice increase of energy. Most people notice they feel more, like they feel better. One thing I do want to say is, some people who do ozone right before bed, I recommend not doing that because you can't fall asleep. There's too much energy.
All right. What about thyroid and goiter issues? Hi, Marcia.
I think so. I mean, there's a lot that goes into that. I mean, if it's autoimmune, ozone will help modulate that immune system. We also want to, there's really good thyroid doctors out there. Dr. Brownstein is probably one of the best. He has like one of the best books out there. If you have the opportunity to read it, go for it. It could change your life, especially if you have thyroid issues.
Dr. Brownstein?
Dr. David Brownstein. He's out of Michigan.
All right, cool. Good tip. Ron from what's the thyroid book? Well, it's by Dr.
His name
Ronald
is Dr. David Brownstein.
David.
And yes, Dr. David, and he's pretty well known. He does cool guy. He does a lot of ozone as well. So, but he has books on, like how to essentially treat your thyroid with a lot of different methods. So really cool.
Catherine, will the coupon code work for the O3 Waterworks Ozone Smart Laundry System?
I think so. If not, I'll make sure it does. Okay.
Okay. All right. Will Shaban 10 work for everything on the site?
Most everything, yes.
Yeah. Okay. Cool. Tobias, I think one of the major uses of ozone is preconditioning, and not to use ozone as an allopath uses a pill for an ill.
Yeah,
That's
I see what
Doc
you're saying.
That's Doc Ron. I think it's the guy. Okay, noted. Can you use ozone rectally if you have a pelvic organ prolapse? Talk to your doctor, but
Yeah, talk to your doctor on that one.
talk to your doctor. Okay, that's a complicated one. My heart goes out to you. I hope you have a good pelvic floor therapist. Can you use while on immunotherapy? Hi, Donna.
Yes, you can. So I've talked to a lot of ozone doctors, and they basically said if you're on any form of medication, ozone is fine. And so just remember, I want to make this clear, like our bodies naturally produce ozone. And I want to give like a quick overview on how ozone works into fighting viruses and bacteria in our body. So like it's through the process of free radicals. Everybody's like, oh, free radicals are bad. They're, it's what causes aging. Well, yeah, but if you didn't have them, you die. Okay. So you have to have a balance of antioxidants in your body. You also have to have a good, healthy amount of oxidants, which are essentially the free radicals. And so anytime you get sick or you're infested with pathogens or viruses, those free radicals go out and oxidize it and kill it. And so ozone helps balance that level so we can actually fight off these things that are making us sick.
Okay. Conley, do you have a small ozone system that can be used for traveling?
Not really, because it's that oxygen. That's the problem. You have to have that pure oxygen source to make it travel. Right. We do sell, and the coupon code works for these. We do sell this thing called ozone suppositories. And so these are suppositories that have ozonated oil that can be used rectally. We have great success for people who have like constipation issues, IBS issues, helps with flare-ups. And so it's another cool tool that you can take. I always say, if you're traveling and you can't take your ozone machine, take those with you. And also those packages that we sell on the website, you get a package, you're going to get a free pack of ozone suppositories with each one.
You also their ozone oils are phenomenal. They also have an ozonated toothpaste.
We do.
Awesome. How does ozone compare with Brown's gas? I don't even know what that is.
So Brown's gas is hydrogen. So it's completely different. So hydrogen's an antioxidant. Brown's gas, or hydrogen's an antioxidant, which is Brown's gas. Ozone is an oxidant. So completely different ball game. That's a whole other topic. Okay.
Okay, Karen, how about gargling for a throat infection? Yes. Thyroid issues like goiters. We already talked about that and gave you the doctor.
I have had people who actually cup ozone gas directly on like a thyroid on the neck. And so you could potentially try that. I've had people tell me that they've had good success. I don't have like the results to what they actually accomplished, but these are simple things that you can do that can't hurt. Like that's the thing with ozone. If you try it, it's not going to hurt. It can pretty much just help.
Okay. Do dermatologists use ozone for any conditions?
Yeah, I mean, it's, if you have like bacteria on your face, like you could wash with ozonated water. It's great for that. Like people who have skin conditions, we can bag that, like fungal issues. Like
do you have a bag to show?
I don't have a bag, but I want to give an example. Okay. We have a new product we're coming out with here in about a month or two. It's like an ozone shorts. And so it's going to give people the ability to ozonate the crotch region. So a lot of people who have like jock itch, fungal issues down there, like this is going to be the easiest way to get ozone to that part of the body. So that's the great thing. That's what I love about this company. We come up with products that actually are easy to use to administer ozone to the body.
It's brilliant. So I have a patch of psoriasis on my leg, and I paid good money to go to a naturopath to have them bag literally my shin. And which, by the way, it's doing so much better. You stick your limb in here so it could work for rashes and that kind of thing, depending on where it is. And then you get the ozone to go in. Also, they have an attachment for a sauna, the at-home saunas.
Yes.
That is so cool. So your whole body can get the ozone. Do you want to touch on that?
Yeah, ozone sauna. So what that is, we refer to that as transdermal ozone therapy. So we're allowing the skin, all of our skin, to essentially absorb that ozone gas. Ozone gas is highly soluble, so it absorbs really well when there's moisture on our skin. So the one thing when we do an ozone sauna is that sauna has to have your head sticking out. So remember, like we talked
Yes.
about earlier,
Yeah.
we don't want to breathe the gas. It'll make us cough. It'll be irritating. So you have a sauna where your head sticks out, you essentially could turn that into an ozone sauna pretty easily. So if you want to do it, we have that little attachment. It works. It makes it super easy to use. And I mean, from a standpoint of like recovery, like we hear athletes like all the time talking about using ozone to recover. It's just so cool. It's such a cool tool to have. I mean, you're going to feel like you have energy after doing an ozone sauna.
Okay, Barbara, you're so sweet. Try ozonated olive oil on your leg. I have, and listen, I would say that my spot is the best it has ever been. And so it's a combination. I've been using the ozonated olive oil on my skin for ages. I love it as a toothpaste. They have a toothpaste. I wash my fruits and veggies with the ozonated water. I mean, this is the cat's meow, you guys. I know that's like an old lady saying, but I love this stuff. The only thing, and I mean this so truly, I just wish I had done this sooner. So I've paid a lot of money to go to different doctors and get ozone treatments. I'm not even just talking about when I had my blood cleaned, like for a bladder infection, for like a UTI. Oh my goodness, for the spot on my leg, the dental applications. I mean, on and on and on. So obviously I'm a huge fan. Thank you, Barbara. You're so sweet. Let's see. I love the shorts. I'm psyched about those shorts. So how much
Me too.
water should you drink each day? If you drink 60 ounces of water, what percentage to start with?
I'm going to say drink 8 to 12 ounces per session. So you can do that 2 times a day if you want. So, upwards to 24 to 30 ounces of water if you feel necessary. So also, if you're using it as a mouthwash, that doesn't even count as you drinking it. So you could essentially do more.
Okay. Kiersey, can ozone help the EBV, Epstein-Barr virus? If it does, how would you use the ozone?
So yeah, so you're going to want to do the insufflation. So like anytime you have a systemic virus, like you can use it for Epstein-Barr, you can use it for Lyme, you can use it for a host of other things. Getting it into your body essentially generates additional oxidants, which are going to go out and kill that stuff. We have so many people who use it for Lyme disease. Epstein-Barr is one of those things that's, you can utilize it incredibly effectively for that as well. Think about it, like I want people to understand how well ozone works with viruses. Ozone essentially is negatively charged, and it attracts itself to these viruses and it deactivates them. So when you look at like research as far as how ozone works with viruses, ozone will essentially deactivate viruses like almost instantaneously. And the greatest thing is there's not going to be any resistance built up to it. So, also with bacteria, there's no resistance that these bacteria can make, with ozone. Ozone will always kill these things no matter what.
Guys, we have about 3 or 4 more minutes. Barbara, mold toxicity. So I'll just say I had a consult with Dr. Jill Krista, which was a huge blessing. She's an incredible mold expert. Barbara, did you come to that 2-part masterclass from Dr. Jill Krista? And actually, starting on Friday, April 7th, 2023, we are doing a Beyond SIBO Masterclass Summit. And that class is going to be available on 2 days, part 1 day, part 2, second day. You have to look at the schedule for free for 24 hours each. Do yourself a favor. If you don't buy the summit, if you don't buy that one for $59, watch that class for free. Okay. Because mind blown, big time. Like, she changed my life in 2 hours from listening to her masterclass. And when I told her that I had the ozone machine, she was psyched. It's like, oh my gosh. And so she made me my little protocol. She doesn't see patients. She did this for me as a huge favor. And she said to drink the ozone water and I have to go back and look at my notes, but to do the nasal once a week. That's what she did. That's what she said. Okay, how long between ozone treatment and taking antioxidants like vitamin C?
So that's a great question. I'm glad we brought this up. So, I usually like to say, 1 to 2 hours. I think you can get away with 30 minutes if you want to, but you definitely want to space them out because ozone's an oxidant, antioxidants, they neutralize each other. So if you really want to have if you don't want to be throwing away those antioxidants, space them apart. So.
Okay. Hey, Clarissa, can you pop the masterclass Beyond SIBO Summit info into the chat? And then also Dr. Jill Krista's mold masterclass separately. Good luck finding all that. Thank you. In our final few minutes, but really, I'm excited about this stuff. I can't remember what you just said no to, Barbara. Love Dr. Krista, right, Ruth? So true. Will it also kill parasites?
I mean, it'll assist, absolutely. So, I mean,
Okay.
our body is designed to, I think the big takeaway is ozone is antimicrobial. And so,
yeah,
I know that question gets brought up, well, what about the good stuff? Yes, it's going to eliminate some of the good stuff, but we're sick because we have too much bad stuff. And we have to start getting rid of that. We have to start somewhere. And so ozone is powerful. It does get rid of stuff.
Okay. Yeah, we just keep talking. Give me a medical condition and we're just throwing it at you. Mira, how would it work if it was combined with Brown's gas? Can you do it in the same day or would it cancel each other out?
All right, I'll answer that really quickly. So Brown's gas generates homeostasis in the body. So it can essentially, I like to say Brown's gas or hydrogen, it depends on your condition. If you have like H. pylori, you may have to rethink it. But it can help other things work better. So, whether you do it 2 hours before, 2 hours after, the next day, it should essentially it should make it work better in my opinion. But there are tons of, a lot of other additional information on Brown's gas. So it's cool stuff though, really cool stuff.
Shirley, you have an adopted son born with Hep B. You know who I would love to see you talk to is Bree Weisselman, because that is one of her specialties. Brie Weisselman. She's amazing. And we've done a masterclass with her too, but she is a specialist in that. And she loves kids. Okay. I gotta go, you guys. What's the difference between hyperbaric oxygen and ozonated water? They're totally different.
Totally different. So hyperbaric oxygen, you're putting yourself in a chamber, you're putting yourself under pressure, you're absorbing the oxygen. Ozonated water is a oxidant. And so it is going to actively kill, but it also oxygenates your body at the same time. So I personally feel that it's even better. I mean, there's other ways you can use it. But you have to also establish like what's wrong with you and what's going to work best for you. And so from like a price standpoint, hyperbaric oxygen chambers are thousands and thousands and thousands of dollars. You can do a home ozone system for $1,000 to $2,000 and have everything you need and use it on any member of the family at home. And it's quick and it's easy to use. And you can use it for viruses, you can use it for bacterial issues, you can use it for a host of other things as well.
Okay, Ruth, how do I do it all? I was born to serve. That's how. So thank you for that. Information came pretty fast. Will there be a replay? You bet there will be. We're going to send it out. If not tonight, tomorrow.
Okay.
Okay. I want to show you guys one thing before we go. And thank you for being here and coming. I really appreciate it. Tobias, thank you so much.
I really appreciate it.
Oh my gosh, it's so much fun. When you click the link, this is where it goes. Forgive me if I've got all kinds of weird stuff on here. But Promo Life, right? Siobhan 10, and then you can choosing the oxygen source. There's tons of videos and stuff. Don't be overwhelmed visually. These are 2 packages you can pick that are very comprehensive. I picked these packages because they were so comprehensive and because they had like all the basics and then a basics plus basically. And then get trained. The training is fantastic. The videos are fantastic. I showed you the book. Listen, if I can do it, and I mean this sincerely, I know you guys can do it. There's something else on the site that I am obsessed with. Do you know what it is? It's that disc.
Yeah, I know. It's called, type in Ozopod. Okay.
Ozone Pod.
Ozone. Yeah, right there, right
The
there.
Ozone Pod. Do you
Yeah,
guys see my screen? Did it switch,
yeah,
Tobias? Do you?
yeah.
Okay. So this thing is what I clean my. Sometimes I make a big batch because I have a home distiller. But if I don't have a lot of distilled water and I don't have a lot of vegetables, I'll use that to clean my vegetables. But I use this as well. I make a big sink of normal tap water. I stick all my fruits and veggies in there. Like if there's massive dirt on something, like I, wipe that off. And then for 10 minutes, I let this go, and it is crazy, but it ozonates that water. And I was like, what am I doing putting an electrical cord into water?
I know.
If you never see me again, I love you, world. I really do. And
It's safe, I promise.
it's totally safe. It does such a fantastic job. Like I watch those videos on like TikTok, even though I don't watch TikTok, but I watched it for a while. And it was like the strawberries and what comes out of the strawberries, and totally grossed me out. So this is like my thing. I'm not even a germaphobe. I'm more of like a stuff on food phobe. I love that thing. It cleans the celery, and you get the idea. I don't need to name
It'll pay for itself so fast because it'll
Thank you.
increase the length of time that your vegetables last in the refrigerator.
There you go.
Like if you're like me and you don't, or if you like probably most people out there, like if you're busy, you forget to use those vegetables, and you're like, oh, I have to throw that stuff away. You're going to give yourself an extra 3 to 5 days if you do that. So I think that's huge from a savings point.
An infrared sauna blanket. The thing is, you really want to like seal that up so you're not just breathing it.
I would advise against the blankets.
Yeah.
I don't like, they're amazing for sweating, but as far as ozone use, I would opt to not do that.
I've never gotten a bubbling ball for cleaning. I just use this and wish I'd had it my entire adult life when I've been cleaning vegetables. Love the thing, obviously. Okay. And use Siobhan 10, get the 10% off. Look, this isn't for everybody. Okay. This is not just like change I have in the bottom of my purse, right? But if it appeals to you, if this seems like something that could be helpful for you and your family, then I really would love to have you take advantage of the special discount and then the support after the sale that Tobias provides, which is excellent. And I think it could be a whole new chapter for a lot of you. And if not, then you know now more than you did, and maybe down the road it's going to be right. Tobias?
Yeah, I do want to say, like, the training is a really big deal. So, if you get the equipment, we really want to make sure you're using it properly. That's huge when it comes to the benefits you're going to receive. Don't be overwhelmed. We have videos that walk you through. We have instructions. We have live consultations, for people who need additional support. We can make it work. And I think you will notice huge benefit with you and your family. It's such a great tool to have. I use it on my kids. Like my wife uses it. I use it. It has changed my life. And so, I wouldn't be doing this if I didn't believe in it. Yeah. So that's the type of person I am. And, it's one of those things, like, once you learn about it, you're going to be obsessed about it. And once you start seeing, you will see the benefits.
Okay, everyone. Thank you so much. Pop some love into the chat for
Tobias.
Thank you so much.
Thank you so much.
What a treat. Mission accomplished. I've wanted to do this for so long. I'm so excited. Yes, we will send out a replay. And I literally have to go, but I'm really glad that we did this, Tobias, and that you all attended. So thank you. A very busy week this week with some other great things coming up. So be sure to read your emails. Bye, everyone. Thanks. Thanks, Clarissa. See ya.